Hello, church. Great to be with you again as we have our daily devotional. Today is a special day. It's election day. And today I would really like to share my heart with you. There's just some things that I feel like I need to get out. So bear with me and see what you think. Today I'd like to talk about the elephant in the room, the thing many want to ignore. So let's talk about that. So, election day. Who's going to be president? Is this our focus today? Many are thinking that way. Or what about the Senate or the House? Is this our focus today? Who's going to control these things? And what about our Supreme Court? Who will be the next person to be put on it? Is that our focus today? And here's my question. Could it be that we are focusing on the wrong things? Let me give you some thoughts on that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. You know, the thing that it's so big, but nobody wants to talk about it. And it's right there. Let's talk about those things. One of them I would like to talk about today is church attendance. If you look at this chart, and I know this is our Christendom world, okay, encompassing everybody, but if you'll just notice, just here in the United States, how attendance is just going down and down and down. We see more and more pews with less and less people in them. And what is that going to do for our world? No wonder our morals are slipping. This is what you get when you get farther away from God. I talked to a man that was in France, and I met him a couple years ago. He was in the town of Marseille, France. It's a town of 1.6 million people. He was 46 years old, and he had never met anyone in 46 years living in a massive town like that ever mentioned one time any kind of belief in God. And go over there today and see what their morals are like. Their whole world is crumbling. That is amazing to me. And that could be where we're going. How about our death rate? What are people dying of more than anything in the United States? And what do we find? Abortions, killing the unborn. I was amazed at a story that I read the other day. A woman who killed her baby has conviction overturned. Court says 6-day-old baby isn't a person. Did you hear that? Now, I don't want to focus on this lady. I want to cover up her name here, okay? But I just want you to see where our courts are going, that they actually ruled this way. Just listen to this story. A New York court recently ruled that a Long Island woman who killed her baby in a car accident cannot be convicted because her baby was not a person yet. The Times Union reports this lady previously was found guilty of second-degree manslaughter for causing the death of her baby daughter in a car crash. She also was indicted for driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol and endangered the welfare of a child. According to the report, this lady was in her third trimester when the car accident occurred in May 2008. Her daughter was delivered by C-section after the head-on collision and died 6 days later, according to the report. In October, the New York Courts of Appeal reversed this lady's conviction, ruling that she was not guilty because she fatally injured her daughter before she was born. The court's ruling compared this lady's actions to self-induced abortion and called it an offense that is no greater than a misdemeanor. We are not protecting the innocent in this nation. And if you go back to your Old Testament, God destroyed nations when they killed their babies. Just a thought. Read your Bibles. And what about our massive drug problem that we have? It is destroying so many lives. We have so much mental illness that is attributed to this, and it's being passed down from generation to generation. This is a massive problem in our world today. Go talk to your police officers about that. And what about this? The gay marriage, right? And what does our world do? They cheer it on. We put it on. The world puts it on our sitcoms and our movies, and it's just the way of life now. Two women, two men can get married, and it's just wonderful. That's what our world is telling us today. And then what about the broken families? Broken for so many reasons, divided. And this is what Satan does. We have so much of it here in the United States. So many divorces. And no one ever wins when there's a divorce. And then our United States, right? It's just this recent looting and destroying and going into stores and taking whatever they want, throw something that's burning into a police car and burn police cars. It just seems like there is no longer any limits anymore. It just seems like our world is so different than anything that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and probably yours too. I'd like you to focus, though, on the northern tribe of Israel. Remember that Israel was divided after King Solomon. The 10 tribes to the north, 2 tribes to the south. God is going to speak to the northern tribe, and he's going to send them a warning. And he's going to do that through the prophet Amos. Watch what Amos says to the northern tribe. He says, I gave you, in Amos 4:6, I gave you empty stomachs in every city and lack of bread in every town. Yet you have not returned to me, declares the Lord. Who did this? Who does this I belong to? This belongs to God. He did that. But he did it to try to get their attention so that they would return to him. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we saw empty shelves. It could happen again. Just a thought. Verse 7 says, I also withheld rain from you when the harvest was still 3 months away. I sent rain on one town, but withheld it from another. One field had rain, another had none, and dried up. People staggered from town to town for water, but did not get enough to drink. Yet you have not returned to me, declares the Lord. It's interesting. We look at one part of the country, and it seems like the whole place is on fire. And we look at another part of the country, and it's floods. Fires and floods. Just a thought. Verse 9. Many times I struck your gardens and vineyards. I struck them with blight and mildew. Locusts devoured your fig and olive trees. Yet you have not returned to me, declares the Lord. Some pictures of crops being destroyed for lack of water here in the United States. I sent plagues among you as I did to Egypt. Remember that? I killed your young men with the sword along with your captured horses. I filled your nostrils with the stench of your camps. Yet you have not returned to me, declares the Lord. He sent plagues like he did in Egypt. Just a thought. Just something for you to think about. And then verse 11. I overthrew some of you as I overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying those cities, remember? You were like a burning stick snatched from the fire. Yet you have not returned to me, declares the Lord. Do you remember this? This was in the middle of the United States this summer. We had this massive shear wind So that went through the whole United States, literally leveled crops and literally leveled buildings and structures. Shear winds, storms. Where do they come from? Just a thought. Therefore, this is what I will do to you, Israel. And because I will do this to you, prepare to meet your God. Prepare to meet your God. And what's going to happen to the northern tribe of Israel? They will be hauled away with hooks in their noses and hauled away by the Assyrians, all into slavery. Here's my question. Is God giving us some warning shots, just like he did to the nation of northern tribe of Israel? Here's a Coast Guard giving some warning shots of this boat. You better pull over, or the next one is going through your boat. Just a thought, just something to think about. So, what should you and me, do today? What should we do today on this election day? Well, go and vote. That is your God-given right here in this free United States that we still have today. Go and vote. And whoever is president, God is in control. Do not forget that. But what we should be doing is praying. Because it will not matter who is president. It won't matter who is in the Senate, who is your next Supreme Court justice. None of that will matter if this country does not return to the Lord. That's what matters. And that is what we ought to be praying about. That this country, starting with ourselves, turn back to God. We should pray that today, on election day, tomorrow, the next day, and every day we live. Because this battle is important. Thanks for letting me share with you today. We will see you next time. God bless.